44 Bravo was the call sign of a 15-man Sri Lankan Army patrol, deployed in the Jaffna Peninsula on July 23, 1983. The patrol was ambushed and 13 of its members were killed by the LTTE. This incident sparked the Black July riots and is considered to be the start of the Sri Lankan Civil War. Background: by July 1983, tension was rising in the Jaffna Peninsula and throughout the country. The TULF had decided that the members of parliament resign their seats, and on July 21, 1983, in Parliament, V.N. Navaratnam delivered an emotional farewell address. On the July 23 was a quiet day in Jaffna, even though there were political activity in Mannar. That day at the army camp at Gurunagar under the command of Brigadier J.G. Balthazar, the army was preparing an ambush for a LTTE leader Salakili, who had been engaged in terrorist activities. It was to be carried out by a group of commandos with the call sign 44 Charlie. At Kondavel, Patrol 44 Bravo was scheduled to leave Gurunagar at 2,200 hours as a routine patrol from the C Company of the 1st Battalion of the Sri Lanka Light Infantry based at Madigal, about 20 miles away. The patrol arrived at 2,147 hours. It consisted of a detachment of 15 soldiers led by 2nd Lieutenant A.P.N.C.S. Vas Gunawardene. The instructions of the brigadier were that the patrol should be back in Madigal before 2,359 hours, if necessarily shortening the prescribed route. Gurunagar, Jaffna, Nagavahara, Nallur, Kope, Urampiri, Kondavel, Kokuval, Jaffna Kalyan, Kadu, Madigal. 2nd LT. Gunawardene received the instructions from Major De Silva, who further emphasized that the patrol must be in Madigal camp by midnight. 44 Bravo left Gurunagar at 2,206 hours and was in radio contact every 5 minutes. All reports indicated that Jaffna was quiet. Ambush. During this time, Salakili was planning on getting revenge for the death of Charles Luca Anthony aka Sealan, and had observed the army patrols. That night a group of 25 LTTE men, including Velupalai Prabhakaran, Kitus R. Victor, Pulendran, Shalakili, Santhosamanapya gathered at Tinuveli on the Palali Jaffna Road at a point where the road was dug up to install new telecommunication equipment. Near one such excavation, 4 mines were placed under plungers stolen from the Kankazan cement factory was placed on the balcony of a nearby house. A machine gun nests were placed near the exploder and across the road. The force was split in two and placed on both sides of the road with Salakili present. At 2,328 hours the patrol reported that it was leaving Urampiri Junction and everything was quiet. The patrol was made up of a jeep with 2nd LT. Vas Gunawardene, Private N. A.S. Manutanj driving, and Corporal G.D. Pereira and Private S.S. Amarasinghe, Private S. P.G. Rajatilakan, Private K. P. Karunaratna in the rear, and a Tata Benz half-truck with the rest of the patrol with Sergeant S.I. Thilikarana in the front seat with Corporal G.R. Pereira at the wheel and Private A. J.R. Fernanda between them. 5 minutes of leaving Urampiri, the jeep was slowing down near Tinuveli because of the obstruction on the road due to the installation of telecommunication equipment. As it was passing the excavation on the road, the exploder set off the mines, followed by a hail of machine gun fire on the jeep and the half-truck. The explosion of the mines wounded many of the men in the jeep, including 2nd LT. Vas Gunawardene, who leapt out of the jeep and pulled out a hand grenade, but was mowed down by machine gun fire. The rest in the jeep scrambled out, attacked the enemy with hand grenades before being killed. Corporal G.D. Pereira charged at the enemy firing his SLR. His body was found a short distance from the jeep. On witnessing the explosion, the half-truck stopped and it too came under fire from both parties of the LTTE. The fire killed Corporal Pereira in the driver's seat, Private Robert Sunil and Wijaziri in the rear, and wounded Private Manapitia, Sergeant Thilakaratna and Private Fernando, who were both wounded, scrambled out, took cover from the vehicle and opened fire. However, Fernando was soon killed. Thilakaratna kept firing until a homemade grenade blew off one hand and all but blew off one foot. Corporal R.A.U. Pereira and Corporal Sumathipala kept on firing, and the latter in addition lobbed his grenade. In his dying moments, Private Manapitia gave his grenade to the Corporal Sumathipala, who changed the magazines and kept on the pressure on the enemy. At one stage they alighted from the vehicle and kept on firing at the enemy in two different directions, thus pinning them down. At 2340 hours a message was sent to Brigadier Balthazar that radio contact with the patrol was lost and that a sentry had heard gunfire and explosions in the distance. The army camps in Palali, Madigal, Thornda Manor and Velvetitrai were alerted, and the ambush prepared for 4-4 Charlie was cancelled by the brigadier. It was sent in search of 4-4 Bravo. 4-4 Charlie located the destroyed vehicles at 0009 hours and reported in. Corporal R.A.U. Pereira also telephoned from the Kondavel CTB depot about the time. He had fired till he ran out ammunition and thereafter had retreated, wounded in both legs. He gave the location of Corporal Sumathipala, who had also fired till his ammunition was almost expended, and thereafter had retreated and was lying wounded. Brigadier Balthazar himself reached the location and found Sergeant Thilakaratna in critical condition and sent him to the hospital. He died on the way. Patrol members: Second Lieutenant A.P.N.C. S. Vasgunawardene, Patrol Commander; Sergeant S.I. Thilakaratna, Patrol Second in Command; Corporal G.R. Pereira, Corporal R.A.U. Pereira, survived the attack with injuries. Lance Corporal Sumathipala survived the attack with injuries. Lance Corporal G.D. Pereira, Private A.J.R. Fernando, Private M.B. Sunil, Private D. N.A.D. Manapitia, Private G. Robert, Private A.J. Wijaziri, Private N.A.S. Manutanj, Private S.S. Amarasinghe, Private S.P.G. Raja Tilake, Private K.P. Karun Ratna. Equipment: the members of the 4-4 Bravo were armed with SLR rifles, except 2nd LT Gun Wardene, who was armed with a submachine gun and grenades. The LTTE used submachine guns, repeater shotguns stolen from the Chavakakcherry police station. They had with them T-56 assault rifle and a SLR rifle.